Hey, folks, welcome to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin. We're right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, I want to say thank you very much. Really appreciate you subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you don't subscribe and you're watching for the first time, or if you're watching for the 10th time, 15th time, and you haven't subscribed, but you like what you see here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd be very, very appreciative. I'd be very happy if you did. And hey, we're almost at 400 subscribers. We're getting more and more subscribers each and every day. And you know what time it is? It's shout out time. This is the time where I shout out one of our subscribers. So I'd like to give a shout out to the 3 Count. The 3 Count. Thank you very much to the 3 Count for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. Once again, the 3 Count, thank you very much for subscribing. Okay, let's get into it. The big news of the day is a bit of bad news, unfortunately. Will Ospreay was forced to vacate the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship due to a neck injury. I got the report here from Fightful.com. It says the IWGP World Heavyweight Title is officially vacant. New Japan Pro Wrestling announced that Will Ospreay sustained an injury at New Japan Pro Wrestling in Dantaku and has vacated the IWGP World Heavyweight Title. As a result, Ospreay successfully defended the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi at New Japan Pro Wrestling Dantaku. He was scheduled to defend against Kazuchika Okada at New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Grand Slam before the event was postponed. There was no timetable for Ospreay's return. New Japan Pro Wrestling will make a further announcement of the status of the IWGP World Heavyweight Title at a later date. From New Japan Pro Wrestling, on May 4th, Night 2 of Wrestling Dantaku, Will Ospreay sustained a neck injury. As a result, Ospreay will not be participating in the next series events and will instead return to the UK for treatment and rehabilitation. There is no timetable for Ospreay's return to action at this time, and as a result, his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship will be vacated. So there you have it. First and foremost, I want to say, wish Will Ospreay a speedy recovery. He's a mega talented, very talented individual, and I wish him nothing but the best of luck and a speedy recovery. And I hope he gets back into the wrestling ring really soon. But the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is vacant. So what's New Japan Pro Wrestling going to do? Well, there's a few options in my opinion. One, you put it back on Kazuchika Okada. You could have Shingo Takagi, who had absolutely just a 5-star match with Ospreay at Wrestling Dantaku. We could have Kazuchika Okada against Shingo Takagi. They could put the belt back on Kazuchika Okada, or if you want to do a little change of pace, put it on Takagi. He's more than worthy. He's more than worthy to hold the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. There's also Kota Ibushi. I know Kota Ibushi was nursing a hurt foot, and it's a shame because Kota Ibushi had the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He had to drop it due to a hurt foot, and now because of Will Ospreay with the hurt neck, he has to vacate the title. But depending on his foot injury, it could go back on Kota Ibushi. There's always Tetsuya Naito, but I don't think they will go that route. You got Sanada. Sanada is due for a run with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So they have a lot of options out there. My guess, if I was a betting man, I would put my money on putting the belt back on Kazuchika Okada and have him run with it until Wrestle Kingdom. I would have him against Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom and maybe have Ospreay regain the title. Or we could have Kazuchika Okada against Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. Ibushi defeats Kazuchika Okada, or Okada could hold on to the title. But if I was a betting man, like I said, I would say that they're going to put the belt back on Kazuchika Okada with Shingo Takagi as the dark horse, there. They might want to go a different route than putting it right back on Okada, but I think Okada was going to defeat Ospreay at Wrestling Grand Slam anyway. The Grand Slam event that was coming up. I pretty sure Okada was going to regain the title. So I'm thinking it's going back on Okada, and he's going to run with the title for a number of months, maybe another year or two. So that's my guess there. But again, Want to wish Will Ospreay a very speedy recovery and get back to the professional wrestling ring very, very soon, my friend. Very, very soon. But take care of your health first. Okay, Dave Finlay, another New Japan Pro Wrestling star. Dave Finlay is considering a move to the WWE. Okay, but I don't know. I mean, he's got a great thing going with New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. But article SC Scoops says in a recent session with Briscoe and Bradshaw, WWE legend Fit Finlay opened up about his son Dave Finlay. Dave Finlay has been a star for New Japan ever since graduating their dojo system. He's currently one half of the Impact Wrestling World Champions with New Japan Pro Wrestling colleague Juice Robinson. They're known as Fin Juice. Says, however, according to his father, there may be some doubt as to whether David will stay in Japan for the long haul. Scroll down for a bit. It says, but he's a little bit confused at the minute as to what to do next. You know, is he going to stay in Japan? Does he want to try here like the WWE or whatever? But he and I are going to sit down when he does eventually come home and try to figure it out. But he just needs to put a little bit of wisdom. He just needs a little bit of wisdom put into his head. It says it's interesting because Fit is a WWE legend. Is Fit Finlay a WWE legend? I don't know if I would call him a WWE legend, but I mean he was a top star, but I don't know if he's a WWE legend. But no offense to Fit Finlay. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight him or anything because he would wipe the floor with me. But I don't know if Fit Finlay is a WWE legend. I said while David Finlay's tag team partner Juice Robinson has experienced the darker side of the current generation of WWE executives. So what they're saying here is Fit Finlay is a WWE legend, but his partner Juice Robinson, he was a CJ Parker, I think, in NXT, and he didn't enjoy his time with NXT, and he went to New Japan, became Juice Robinson, and he enjoyed some great success. So either you listen to your dad or you listen to Juice Robinson. It's you got the pros and the cons. So I'm sure Dave Finlay will make a decision. Personally, I would love to see him stay in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think going to the WWE, I don't know, maybe they could team him with Cameron Grimes. I mean, they have a similar look. You know, maybe he could be Cameron Grimes' brother or whatever. But I would prefer for him to stay with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But then again, David Finlay is going to do what's best for David Finlay. All right, let's move on. W.Morrissey, a.k.a. Big Cass, says he says that he's not with Impact Wrestling for the long haul. Article don't have the article here, but he says he's with Impact Wrestling for basically for the short term. He's going to be with them today, tomorrow, maybe for the next couple of weeks, but he has no long-term plans with Impact Wrestling, which is a little strange because like a week ago he was saying that his goal was to become Impact Wrestling World Champion, but now he's in a recent interview he said, "Oh, I got no long-term plans with Impact Wrestling." He says he's enjoying his time with Impact Wrestling, but there's nothing long-term. Which to me, he's kind of putting it out there that, yeah, he's not there long term. He's building himself up, getting himself ready for another run, either with the WWE or AEW. You know, just he's kind of subtly putting that out there. But then again, he could sign with Impact Wrestling long term. But it just says right now he's not with Impact Wrestling long term. He doesn't have any long term contract with them. Just had a decent match with Willie Mack recently. I mean, he's proving himself as a I don't want to say a top star of Impact Wrestling, but almost a top star of Impact Wrestling. He's got a great look, and his match with Willie Mack, like I said, was pretty good. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next feud. I think the next feud is going to be with Rich Swann. We'll see how the match with Rich Swann. I'm sure we're going to see that down the road. But as long for the length of time he's going to be with Impact Wrestling, doesn't seem like he's going to be with them very long. Unless they come up with a deal where they keep him, but we'll see. I don't know. But as of right now, W. Morrissey, aka Big Cass, does not have a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling. And I would like to see that change, though. I would like to see him remain with Impact Wrestling. But again, I think this was like a little subtle hint that he would like to see what else is out there. He'd like to make his mark, his short-term mark in Impact Wrestling, and kind of see what else is out there. Maybe AEW, or maybe a return to the. I don't know if he would return to the WWE, but I think he'll be great in like out in Japan, either All Japan or New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah. I think he would be great out there. But we'll see. We'll see if he eventually signs a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling. It could happen, and it might not happen. All right. Last but not least. Tessa Blanchard was spotted training at Dustin Rhodes Wrestling Academy. So everyone is now speculating that she is going to be signing with AEW. I just think it was a training session. AEW says they're still not talking with Tessa Blanchard about any contract, but they could be keeping it under wraps. And who knows? We could see Tessa Blanchard show up at on AEW Dynamite, or even they have AEW Rampage coming up. She could maybe show up on there, but I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Tessa Blanchard. I thought she would have been with a promotion by now. I find it interesting though. She was training with Dustin Rhodes, who's currently with AEW, but I just think it was just a training session. I don't think we should really be making. I don't think we should make this out to be more than it actually was. It was just a training session. But then again, it could be something a lot bigger, like she's getting ready to join the AEW roster. Who knows? But all we can do is keep our eyes on the situation and keep looking for updates on Tessa Blanchard and see where she ends up next. Like I said, I'm very surprised that she hasn't ended up anywhere. That she's still unsigned, but I don't think she's going to be unsigned for much longer. I don't think she's going to be unsigned for much longer. And whether it's AEW, WWE, whether it's back to Impact, wherever she goes, she has star-making quality, and she will be one of the top stars wherever she goes. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. I'm Lewis Carlin. This is the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. And stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.